Bitmine immersion might be one of the biggest opportunities in the market, in my personal opinion. I'm going to go into what I'm looking at, why I'm looking at, and ultimately where we see it going over the next few weeks, but ultimately over the next few months, because that's where you're really going to make your money. It's not in the short term, but it's going to be the longer term with a name like this. Now, it's important to know why this is so interesting to me, but also important to know what's going on with the stock as a whole. Because over the past basically month, give or take, you've definitely seen a bit of a dip. You were at highs of like 63, you were looking solid, and then you basically dipped all the way down towards around $52, $53, right? It's important to understand. Now, first of all, we saw Ethereum get a flash crash here around, give or take, $1,000 on Ethereum, and Bitcoin had a pretty big drop as well. Now, that all came from the Trump tweet, in case you missed it or in case you live under a rock. So we need to establish what's going on and where you're going to go. Okay, so we understand that Trump basically crashed the market directly, indirectly, who knows, right? Over the past basically week, saying that we need to up China tariffs. They're going to go to 100% on November 1st unless they listen to him and do what he says. And then he came out last night and said, my bad, guys, don't worry about China. It's going to be okay. Highly respect the president of China. He just had a bad day. I don't want a depression for their country. They don't want one for mine. The USA wants to help China, and I heard it. Everything back to normal. And then obviously you look at that Ethereum chart, you've bounced all the way back. Now, BitMNR is so important, connected directly to Ethereum. It's really tied to that price, almost the same as MicroStrategy is for Bitcoin. Very important to understand that. Now, where things get more interesting is also looking at this. Now, this is the short report that was published on BitMNR, okay? And it's probably not getting talked about enough. Now, again, if you know this company, Carousel Capital, they're all over Twitter, okay? And this is where things get even more sticky because Carousel basically went on this long tangent saying that basically they're mimicking another company. They don't have any, they're not really doing anything. They're not making any money. There's nothing special about them. And obviously, the price dropped. Carousel said, oh, look, we're right. We were right all about this. Now, it's important to understand that Carousel didn't go into the fact that the stock market also had a massive drop over the course of like 24 hours. As you can see, the S&P SPY went from 674 down to lows of 652 basically in 4 hours. And really in the after hours, it went even lower. Okay. So very important that we're understanding the context of what is happening. Now, if we go look at BMNR, you can see that, yeah, you've dipped, but you dipped down to your 50 MA and you really broke no structure or no trend. You haven't even put in a lower low. This is still fine. Now, the thing about the chart that looks so good to me, and I want to leave all this here, is that this is a daily time frame going all the way back to like July 9th. So it's important to understand that you've been basically consolidating, pinching here since July on BitMNR. Very important to understand. Now we go into what's happening right now and why we like it so much. Now, Tom Lee isn't like the people that were brokies, right? Everyone that was over leveraged and was going crazy, right? He did what was smart here. He started adding more money directly into Ethereum, buying almost $1 billion worth of Ethereum on the drop. Literally during the drop, he was unloading, buying the entire time. Was it risky? Did it pay off? Yes. Very important to understand everything that's happening there. Now, there's a lot of information to take in all at once, but it's important to know everything that's going on. Now, if you also don't know Tom Lee, you've seen him on CNBC, thumbnail of this picture, of this video, very important to understand he is all in on Ethereum. Now, I will also say Tom Lee is a bit of a perma bull at times, but I will say the things he's been right about, he has really been right about. So again, there is risk attached to this name, but I will say, you know, when he's been right, he's really been right. So it's putting your money where your mouth is as far as what he's doing right now. So again, what I really want to see when it comes to this chart is getting above $65, $62. Now, before we go any further, I also want to say, if you want to see what we're trading and how we're trading every day, the Discord link is in the bio. There's never any pressure. And if you want to see more content of what we're doing for 100% free, I recommend following us on Twitter so you never miss a beat. We're constantly posting on there. You get all of our charts, everything that we're looking at. And I also want to say we don't gatekeep to where we're saying, if you want to get our best trade, whatever, make sure you're in Discord. That's not at all what we do. Now, if you want to see what we're doing all day throughout the day and talk to us, now, obviously me and my partner, that's where we are. So no pressure at all. That link is down below. But I do recommend following on Twitter so you get all these updates at any point in time. again, I want to keep you guys up to date, and I try to make as much free content for you. And this is really the only way I can do it. TikTok, Twitter are like the best ways to do that. So make sure you're following there. But again, going into BMNR, what do we want to see? What do we want to see as a whole from the market as well? So number one, we do want to see the stock market get some love. So looking at something like SPY, I always recommend marking down your levels and understanding. And again, if you want to get the levels, just take a screenshot of what you're looking at right now on whatever device you're looking on. But again, we want to see the S&P SPY get back above 667, because once you get back above that, you're looking back towards all-time highs. Very important to know that. QQQ Tech. Now, I would say this is one of the more important viewpoints here as well, is you're right there at that 603 level. Back above 603, we're looking for 607 and then back into all-time highs as well. Now, you'll also notice if we go look at something like Bitcoin, and actually what I'll do is I'll actually clean this off really quick, and then you go over here, you can hit the plus button right here, and then what we'll do is we'll add the Bitcoin chart to overlay on this as well. And it'll be like a little line graph so you can see, but this gives you a better viewpoint for some of the people that don't believe that Bitcoin and crypto follow the stock market. And so when you look here on the weekly, which is what we're looking on here, as you can see, Bitcoin is clearly, I don't know why the chart's doing all that. It's being ridiculous. That's actually crazy. So you can see when we zoom in here, you can actually see right there, you're clear as day following the chart to the upside, if not sometimes even outperforming. Now, I will say in the past, if you go and look, there's been times where obviously the stock market is leading back there. So very important to understand that, where you're at ultimately and where you're going. I don't know why it's acting up so bad, but you can definitely see the correlation there. Most important thing to understand is how that is working. Okay, so some people like to say that the stock market is led. It 100% does lead crypto, and that's why you saw the drop on Friday as well. So this is why the levels are so important to seeing where we're going to go and getting that breakout, because again, we do need the stock market to help us out when it comes to that as well. Now, gold is still going berserk. This is more of a risk off indicator in my opinion, but again, as far as the risk on indicators out there, again, you're still seeing IWM trying to break out, which is still insanity that you're still trying to get back above 246. And another thing that I would love to highlight here as well is you could almost line up most of your major crypto breakouts with IWM. I just want to just be really clear for you, okay? Now, the most recent breakout you had on crypto, I will say of 2020, give or take 2023, into 2024, I will say IWM did not break out here, but if you go back into 2020, into 2021, IWM, in my opinion, was a big figure here, which led that kind of rally on the breakout that you had here clear as day at the end of 2020 into the beginning of 2021. Prior to that, you can see the 16, 17 push that you had back here when you broke out right here, clear as day led there, going back into here as well. So very important to understand IWM for the small cap ETF, the Russell 2000, has been one of the biggest metrics for continuation and breakouts for risk on indicators, which ultimately leads to Bitcoin as well. Because if you look at Ethereum and you look at altcoins, which when Ethereum runs, altcoins usually run as well, it's definitely lining up there. Now, the other part is we look at the Ethereum chart. And again, I'm trying to go through all this as efficiently as possible so you can go back as well. But the biggest levels on Ethereum are very, very clear. So your all-time high back from 2021 is right there at basically 44,878. And then your all-time, your most recent highs locally were back in March, and then obviously here in December of 2024. And then you're kind of retesting this now. Now, you did make a new all-time high very recently, but we're going to talk about that in a second. This is the weekly chart. And as you can see here, you are clear as day finding support from these levels, right? Your previous high here and here as of recent, and you're finding non-stop buying there on the weekly, okay? Very important. Again, this isn't bias. This is just me just covering this. And if you've been following the channel, we've been talking about these same levels for a while now. Going into Bitcoin, if you want to see just for your own peace of mind, the equivalent to this level would be right here at roughly 108. And you can see that you're finding buyers there literally nonstop. That's the most important level for Bitcoin. But looking at Ethereum, again, this is very key as you are finding buyers exactly where you need to. The other point here is you saw an increase of selling on Ethereum as you were breaking down, but again, it didn't matter because you held support. Another good sign from buyers. Now, I don't want to blindly say that BMNR is going to explode and you're going to make infinite amount of money and this is all you need to do. I don't want to say that. You know, if you start to flip 4,100, you know, probably you're going to see a little bit of downside or chop on BMNR. So when I go back to the chart, it's very critical and crucial that you see where we're looking for that clear-cut breakout. I still think stock-wise, you're in a really great position, but what you want to see here is you want to see us get basically into 63, 64. If we start breaking that, making higher highs, in my opinion, this will start running. And the other part here is, in my opinion, you might start getting people over leveraged into a short position on BMNR, which I don't want to go down the squeeze path, but got to call a spade a spade. So that is what we're looking at there as well. Okay, BMNR, what we're thinking about. A quick update as well on SoFi for you guys. I haven't been able to do an update in a few days. I'll probably make a video in the next few days as well. But so far, SoFi is holding up. Again, what you wanted to see is a clear-cut mount on the daily above basically 28.3, 28.4. And right now, again, as you can see, we almost had that on Friday, but then obviously, bam, to the downside. Not ideal Thursday into Friday. If we can get back above 28.3, I like it a lot. Again, your buy zone is down here near 25. Your next level beyond that is 22.5. And if you lose 22.5, this could start seeing $20 and then ultimately a 200 SMA. And your $17, what I'd be looking at there. Again, I don't really think there's been any shift in what's happening with SoFi or softening or weakness. I think it's just literally following the market right now. And if you go look at like actual banks, as far as like Bank of America, you're still seeing downside there. You go look at something like a Wells Fargo. So I think Wells Fargo is WFG. Is that right? No. Wells, it's a weird one. WFC, as you can see, is down as well. So nothing abnormal that's actually going on here. And if you're looking at SoFi, the actual bullish viewpoint of it is it's slowly becoming a company like these ones. Now, obviously, they're not going to have a brick and mortar bank locations like that, but SoFi, what they're doing, they obviously bought the bank previously, became a bank. So very important to understand, which kind of enable new capabilities for them as well. So again, really good to see. These aren't the best comparisons, but some of the charts just to show you that SoFi is looking better than some of the stronger names out there, that in the traditional strong names that you would think of in the bank space as well. You could go something like JP Morgan, these other ones, which again are still kind of pulled back as well, which did get a bounce on the day. Very important to acknowledge, but again, where you're at right now. So again, SoFi, still like it, but above 28.3 is where things get really bullish in a price discovery. But until then, you have to be a little bit cautious, or you're waiting to buy more down here at $24, $25. That is where I at least am looking. If you guys have any questions, comment down below or hit me up on Twitter, guys. If you guys tag me, I try to answer all the questions, and hopefully I can even post a chart to answer that as well. Me or Jordan are always on there responding to you guys. Again, I appreciate all the support you guys have been giving the channel. We really, truly do appreciate it. More content is coming. Hopefully you guys are making a killing in the market. See you guys in the next video. Salute. Have a good one, traders.